So in this one, what we're going to do is combine the ground floor walls together and just make sure that we enable all the booleans. Okay, so I'm just going to right click. So let's get started. To begin this animation, what I'm going to do is save my file as it is right now. And actually what I'm going to do first is just hide the particle system. And I'm going to come up and say File, Save As. I'm going to create a new folder called Animation. Press Enter. And in here then, I'm going to call this animation _001.blend, save as blend file. And I'm going to say again, File, Save As. Increase the number to 2 with the plus sign here. And save as. Okay, so if I need to go back, which we will obviously because mistakes will be made and you don't want to ruin your original blend file. Okay, so start fresh. Okay, the animation is different than the actual scene creation and rendering. So the first thing I'm going to do is just switch off a couple of layers that I don't need, like the landscape. For this, I'm going to be concentrating on the ground floor, doors, the windows, the walls. Anything I do with the ground floor can be implemented on the first floor. So I'm going to go through the ground floor. So let's switch off the first floor windows. I'm going to switch off the roof and the first floor. I'm going to press 0 just to come out of camera view. Just zoom in here. I'm going to select these railings and just move these to the first floor. Also, just one thing I never mentioned, if I select this and zoom in, I added a external render material to that just to keep it similar. I also beveled the edges on it. I should say on both of them. So with them selected, I'm going to move them to first floor. I'm also going to select the floor, move that, and select the door, the internal part of the door and the handle, and move this then to first floor. Let's get rid of the trees also. I'm going to press 7, just zoom out, and I can box select all of these, box select all of these, and I can see I have a couple of extra objects selected. So I'm going to press Z, bring up wireframe. It's going to press B and middle mouse to deselect these two objects. Just going to right click. I'm just going to come around here. So with that, what I might do is just move these to landscape, and I'm going to press Z to come back to solid. So the first thing I want to do is organize these walls. So what we need to do first is enable the auto boolean. So if I come up to tools, I'm going to come down here and click auto boolean. Now this needs to be done, otherwise you won't be able to see the doors through the walls. So that's an important step. So that's this one. I'm going to select the next one and do the same thing. Okay, if we get a bug like this, I'm just going to select that, tab into edit mode, select some faces and delete these faces. Delete these ones and this one. It's a small thing, but it has to be. Come back to object mode and you can see that that's now fine. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing with this wall here. Select them and click auto boolean. Click the external one, click auto boolean. And now you can see we have holes there. Now the other thing that's happening for some reason is this material is turning black. So with it selected, I'm going to tab into edit mode, press A once or twice, and just hit assign. And that seems to clean that up. So for whatever reason, same with this one. Press A once or twice, hit the assign button, select the frame, press A once or twice to select it all, and hit assign. Okay, so that's those ones sorted. Just make sure that all the doors have the boolean enabled. Okay, so I think that looks pretty good. The other thing that will have to be done is these gaps on the door will have to have material added, but that's an easy task. Okay, so I'm happy enough that all of these are done. The next thing to do then is select each wall, and actually what I'm going to do is remove this material first also. So select all of these and just remove that material. And this is just the internal walls. For the external wall, we already have a render on that, and I'm going to leave it as it is. Just for this. So with all of that removed, I'm going to click new and just rename this to internal walls. And you can add whatever material it is you like to that. So I'm going to shift select the other walls here. Shift select the last one I added material to. Control L and just make links to that material. So the next thing we need to do is select each individual wall and come over to the modifiers tab and enable any modifier that's on it, because we need to combine them and we don't want certain modifiers affecting other objects. So I'm going to hit the apply button on each of these to whatever modifiers they have. Okay, so most of them have 2 modifiers, so just enable those or apply those. Same thing with the external. Just apply all of these. And I can just check that they're all done. Okay, so that's pretty good. The next thing to do is combine all of these. So with the external selected, I'm going to shift select each wall and press Ctrl J to join them. Now, just to check that this is all one object, I'm going to press G and drag it away. And you can see that the holes have been cut out of our wall. Okay, so I'm just going to right click. Okay, and I'd be pretty happy with that. Okay, so that's the walls taken care of. I guess what we can do is come over to the layer tab, and on layer 4, I'm going to rename this to ground floor walls. Press enter, and I'm going to move the walls to that layer. That's those taken care of. In the next one, we'll go ahead and we'll get the windows ready and the doors. Okay, but otherwise that's going to do it for this one.